Welcome back to Live With, brought to you by Species Nutrition. Visit speciesnutrition.com. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today, back here on the show by popular demand, and back in the winner's circle, our good friend, Guy Cisternino. Come back, kid.
What's up, man?
You said you were going to do it. You said you were going to come back. You said you would be on that Olympia stage again. A lot of people maybe counted you out. I don't know, maybe you counted yourself out at some point. You had a bad year last year. A lot of bad things happened. Misfortunes, just mistimings, and somehow you put it all together here at the end of the year, and you finished with a win. How does that feel?
I was telling my buddy, I go, this was like the perfect ending to a fucking absolute disaster story. You know, because like the last time I won a show was in 2016, and then I had double shoulder surgery, and I was very confident when I was coming back that my first round up in Chicago, I was going to win. And I got sick from the pain meds from throwing out my back. And then in Tampa, we pulled the salt. And I thought that did it because I looked like shit in Tampa. Even though Chris said I looked peeled and I should have won, I just was overly flat. I was not myself on stage.
Yeah.
And then we prepped another 14 weeks for Romania. I got my ass kicked there. I flattened out again. Then we changed everything for Cali. I looked like absolute dog shit in Cali. I got back Sunday. He made a huge change on Monday and Tuesday. I woke up fucking Wednesday morning.
Well, hold on. You say you look like shit in California. You didn't look like shit. I saw the pictures. You weren't terrible, but you weren't your usual.
For me,
yeah.
If I'm the type of bodybuilder where if I'm 2% off, I can go from first to 10.
Right.
Some guys that are 2% off can still win shows. I'm not one of those guys. So for me, when I'm so for me, I know what I look like on stage and what I'm capable of. So anything less than that to me is just garbage.
Yeah, I know. I understand. You're very hard on yourself, but let's face it, you're not going to go from being out of shape to being in shape in 2 days. You just had a water distribution issue that seemed to somehow fix itself. What was the mysterious? What did Chris do that was so crazy that made the huge change?
So the big thing was, it was crazy because I thought it was a issue with sodium and like I don't use a lot of diuretics, and I know people say shit like this all the time, but I'm one of the guys that really doesn't need it because I get very peeled without anything.
Well, what's not a lot? What do you use? Like a couple half diazides?
No, I eighths to quarters of diazides.
Okay.
Like I use like very minuscule amounts. Like if you ask Chris, he'll say that I'm the guy that started using the word sprinkle because he would like dump like pound, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Why am I even taking this? Like you just give me this to like mentally think that I'm.
I think it's mental. Right? Yeah, mental. That's
because there's nothing. But we got back from Cali.
Yeah, we're losing. I think we lost you, Guy.
On Monday instead of waiting later, and then on top of that, he dropped my carbs to almost nothing on Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, he fucking hammered me with. I was eating 40 ounces of potato a day, 6+ cups of rice a day. He backed my protein down to 6 ounces, and I was only drinking 8 ounces of fluid with each meal on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I literally restricted my water way earlier than I've ever done. He started diuretics way earlier than he's ever started them. And we carved up harder than I've ever carved up in my life. So it's just, I think it was a combination of my age, body not responding to things the way it used to. And what I thought the problem was complete opposite of what it actually was. I thought it was too much diuretics, not enough fluid. And it actually was, we didn't pull fluid hard enough. We didn't cut it soon enough. And we didn't carb up hard enough.
Yeah, well, you weren't dry enough. Yeah, I think at those other shows, that's what I was noticing. And the one show you passed out before you got tanned. You remember that? What show was that you missed the tanning appointment?
I don't even know.
You remember though what I was talking about? Because I was criticizing your tan. I said I've never seen a guy on the stage without a great tan.
That was in Chicago when I got sick.
Oh, okay.
And I was throwing up so much, and that's when my hemoglobin went to like almost 9.
Right.
Because I was puking. I took that Ultram, that pain med for my back.
Yeah.
I knew my tan was going to be off because I knew once I started throwing up, I'm smart enough to know that the pH of my skin was going to be off because I lost so much minerals and nutrients.
Right.
So my tan was actually the exact tan I did for every show, but that just goes to show when one thing is off. You said my tan looked like shit, but I did nothing different for every other show after that.
Oh, really? Funny.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, you had a lot of mishaps, and you have to. Were you doubting yourself mentally at some point? Because I know you're very strong mentally, but when you have a lot of bad showings, sometimes you start to say, well, maybe I lost it here. Maybe I need to hang it up.
I honestly, when Bob called me for the winner, and then he tried to interview me, and I was just, you know me, I wear my heart on my sleeve type of guy, so I got really emotional.
I saw you. We put the video up before. You were very, very emotional. You couldn't even step to the line.
After Chicago, Tampa, Romania, and this is not being disrespectful to any of the competitors, but the guys that I was competing against, I'm not saying it should never happen, but where I feel I am as a bodybuilder, I'm looking at these guys and I'm like, these guys should not be beating me.
Right.
This is just these guys, not that they're not they're not good bodybuilders. I don't feel like a lot of those guys that beat me were just at the caliber of level that should beat me for what I normally bring to the table.
Right.
And after California, Sean was backstage. Roden was backstage. Cutler was backstage. Charles was backstage. And Sean goes, after the show, man, he goes, just give your body a break and take an off season. And I debated it. And then Cutler was like, dude, he goes, Jay was like, everything's there. He's like, something's not going right the last 48, 72 hours. He was like, go for broke for Niagara. He goes, you'll get it. So I was like, I talked to Chris, and I wasn't going to do Niagara unless Chris came to the show. And I said, Chris, I'll do Niagara Falls only if you come, because I said, I'm not doing this. You're not there. And then I'm scrambling to figure out what the fuck to do and have other people look at me because the lighting sucks or It's late at night. And so Chris goes, I'm coming. He goes, I'm going, you're going.
I didn't even know he was there. He didn't even tell me he was there.
He didn't fucking show up. He lied to me.
Oh, that's why.
Because he knows I wouldn't have gone. If he told me he wasn't going, I wouldn't have booked my shit. And he knows how I am, and he knows I wouldn't have booked my flight if he didn't tell me he was going, because I wouldn't have went. Because I was at a point where, like you said, I was like, after California, I was like, maybe I just don't have it anymore. Not that I don't have the drive or the mental strength to do what I have to do to get ready, but I was like, maybe I'm just at a point where my body's just like, you know what, dude, you got to go on to something else.
I don't even know why you thought Chris would be there, because he was in China.
Yeah, but he got back on Monday.
You thought he was going to go to Niagara Falls after being in China for a week?
It's not like he could literally fucking drive there. It's in May. It's not like a far fucking flight.
He's got 5 kids, 4 kids. Guy.
Listen,
he played the Jedi mind tricks on you, and it worked.
Listen, after getting your dick kicked in 5 times, I think it's safe to say you want your coach at the last one.
But you've been doing this a long time now. I mean, you know your body. You probably don't even need a coach. You like to have someone there as a security blanket, I think, at this point. But
it's just mentally, I like to not have to, because if it was me, Dave, I'd be doing 2 hours of cardio, eating no carbs. Right. Because to me, if I'm not torturing or dying, I'm not dieting hard enough or training hard enough. Right. So I more so have Chris to be like, you need to eat, you need to slow down on cardio, you need to train at 60% today. That's what I need, because if it's me, I'm 110% from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed.
How old are you now, Guy?
37.
Okay, you're still young. You sure you're not older?
No, motherfucker, 82. I know how old I am.
I'm older than I think then, that's all. I'm 51.
Well, I think 2007 or 8 you turned, or 2007, 8 or 9 you turned 40 because we were all there.
Yeah. How old were you in your early 20s then, right?
I was still a fucking 176-pound peeled middleweight.
That's right. You know, it's funny that you mentioned it because, you know, PJ Braun is on his way to the studio as we speak. He could be coming in any minute. And I remember you guys used to come to my house. You, PJ, Evan Centopani, the whole Connecticut crew there.
You've known me as far as coaches longer than anybody in the sport.
Guy was like this little guy. You were so motivated. You were like, you know, I just want to be a bodybuilder, and people were telling you couldn't do it. I'm like, I knew with your tenacity and your anal retentive OCD way you were that I said this guy can't fail, you know, because you'll never give up. And I think that's a key. I think, you know, just doing the show, Guy, and winning in 2019 after not having a win since 16, getting back to the Olympia stage for 2020, that just shows you how you just will not quit and will not give up. And I'm sure I know you'll never admit it, but you're definitely training in pain. There's no way those shoulders don't hurt you.
Oh no. Listen, it's funny. My doctor, Dr. Dumas, reached out to me today, and the company that makes the anchors that anchored my tendon into my shoulder, they want to do like all this press stuff on me, and like now we're talking about doing like it's actually the same company that just sponsored Tom Brady.
Oh wow, that's cool.
So their media company reached out to me today. Because now, like, the doctor was just like he was like, you know, are you in pain? I'm like, yeah, I mean, I have pain, like my AC joint, I have a little pain in, which I never did. But like from what I could do before the surgery to what I can do now, the pain barrier is very different.
Yeah.
And I don't have nearly as much pain as I did. Do I still have pain? Yeah, I don't think I'll ever go a day the rest of my life without having any.
Oh, you will. You will when you get your shoulder replaced like I did. You'll be out of pain, you know. But that's 10 years off, maybe more, 15 years off, you know.
So, you know, it was I don't have a pain-free day, but I have a lot more painless days than I had before the surgery.
Right. So what's
the doctor was just so impressed about. Because I lost fucking 40 pounds, and I don't. I have a RXMuscle interview from the Olympia when I took 6th, when you guys said that I have it saved on my voice notes, and you said that here's a guy who has no business being top 6 because he doesn't have the genetics to be a bodybuilder, and Chris agreed, but you guys both said that like somebody who has the tenacity and the will to never give up. Like that's why Guy is as good as he is, not because he's genetically gifted, because he's just a hardworking guy. And I've always prided myself on being that person. And one of the last interviews we did, I said one thing that I can't fix is father time. And you know, that's what I started to think caught up to me. Yeah. And I was starting to get like really hard on myself. Like, man, like, you know, walk around my house looking at all the pictures of Niagara Pro wins and trophies, and I was like, I might never have another one of these again. Right.
Well, now, you got one now. You're going back to the Olympia. Now, I feel that at your age, as you get into the older 30s, less shows might be more prudent for someone like you, especially because it's less wear and tear on your body. Are you going to wait to the Olympia now to get back on stage?
Yes. So I'm going to move because I have the septic guy here. I got to pay him for.
That's all right.
I literally have to pay him for cleaning the shit out of.
Well, we love to see when shit gets taken care of on the show. Yeah.
God, it fucking stinks, man. Fuck. You guys want to see what I really smell like?
Yeah. Now is this your house that you purchased within the last couple of years?
Yeah, 3 years ago. This is my.
Did you redo all the floors just recently or something like that in there?
I did my floors. I did.
Oh, now we lost him because he's outside.
I redid I did a lot of stuff.
What part of Jersey do you live in?
Like Branchburg, Bridgewater area.
Oh, that's nice. What, you don't want to move out into the warm climates of like Florida or anything like that?
Dave, I'll never move to Florida ever.
Now, why is that? Because you like to hunt?
I got my deer targets. Yeah. I got my deer target in the back. I got my guns. I got my bows. I can't hunt in fucking Florida.
You could, of course, you could hunt. There's more to hunt down here than up in New York.
Yeah, gators and fucking shit like that. You guys ain't got whitetails roaming around in Florida.
No.
And I like to change the seasons. Like if you look here, like we don't have like the palm trees and stuff, but
Right.
I don't even know how to flip this camera. But
I
I mean,
see.
like this time of year.
You got a big piece of property.
Yeah, I'm on 2.5 acres. Yeah.
Oh wow! All right, that's a nice house.
Yeah.
And you're there alone, or who's living with you?
My 2 pups.
Oh, cool.
Being a pro bodybuilder is hard because the travel schedule is very difficult, and I travel every week. Like I just got back from I was in Romania, Cali, Canada. I go to University of Michigan to speak Friday. I come back Sunday morning. I'm home Sunday morning. I leave Sunday night because I got video shoots for Gaspin, Texas. I'm in Texas Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, come back Wednesday, and then I leave for Dubai on the 3rd to the 8th for the Dubai Muscle Show. So having a relationship is pretty fucking difficult.
How did you line up the Dubai show? I mean, Sid is going to be out there for me. I can't make it this year because of the babies. But what are you doing down there in Dubai?
For my sponsor for MFit, because we just got like distribution in like Australia and stuff like that. So they wanted me to come out, and I was like, well, instead of paying me to come out, I want my sponsor to have representation there. So how about we just exchange me flying out for a free booth space?
Oh, okay, that's smart.
So all set. Everything was good.
Yeah.
Everything looked.
Every 3 years you'll be fine.
Yeah. Everything.
Is the shit draining all right now?
Awesome.
No
He said the shit's
backup,
draining
no
perfect.
poop backup, huh?
He said I can walk around, my shit don't stink. Thank you, bro.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, be good.
Stay outside. You look good outside.
Yeah. Okay, I'll
stay
go
outside.
on my deck.
I'm just waiting for PJ to get
I'll go
here.
on my deck.
So what's
it might be loud.
the game plan now? What do you think about the 212? Take yourself out of the equation for a minute. In the 212 division, who do you feel is? I mean, obviously Kamal is the top of the heap right now, but what do you see the Olympia in 2020 looking like?
Honestly, if people might take this as like a disrespectful comment, and I don't mean it. I actually mean it in the most respectable way possible. If Kamal took first and Sean took second, you got 2 of the smallest guys on that stage, muscle-wise, that placed top 3.
Yeah.
And they took top 3 because not of really shape structure, it was more conditioning.
Yeah.
Because I think the best structured bodybuilder on that stage that has the most potential is Derek Lunsford.
Right.
And as a 37-year-old man, he's still a kid. He's in his early 20s. If I had his genetics and I had his, I would be beating Phil Heath.
Yeah.
110%. There's not even a question in my mind. So I think Derek has the most potential in anybody in the 212. He's one of the youngest guys, the most muscle. He's a very driven guy. He's just like I had to figure my shit out to nail it on stage. He's got to figure his shit out in the gym. And I know I'm very hard on him, and I'm hard on him when I critique him because I think he doesn't realize how much potential he really has.
Sure.
And that drives me nuts when somebody that has genetic potential to be one of the best in the world. I think he sees it, but I don't think he knows how to get there yet.
Right.
But I think this is, to answer your question, for me, I think that the 212 division is going for a more structure, aesthetic, conditioning physique than it has in the past, because you don't have like the mass monsters like placing in the top. Like your Flex isn't there, Jose's not there, David didn't place top 5, Eduardo didn't place top 5. Those were guys that would always beat me.
Yeah.
And they got smoked.
Can you be back? Can you get yourself back into that top 5 this year?
So this is where I was going.
Yeah.
So if I looked the way I looked after 39 weeks of dieting, and it took me 5 tries to get it right, after all the depletions and the carb depletion and diuretics and water, if I looked how I looked after 40 weeks of dieting to finally nail it, and I've never qualified this early in my life, for me to actually have the rest, recovery, put on the weight, diet down for one show, and be my best now that I know what it takes, I think it's going to be probably my best package ever, because it's the longest I've rested, longest off season I've had, one shot, one show. I think a lot of people are going to be in trouble because I've never, in all my years of being a bodybuilder, I've never qualified right now.
Yeah, no, that's good. You're right. You're early. Now, you're 37. You're still young, obviously.
Yeah.
But your body's a little beat up. I mean, you're a businessman. Yeah. You're making money. You live in the bodybuilding dream, as we all say. How long are you going to do this for? Do you have an exit strategy, or are you just going to keep going until you feel you can't be your best?
My exit strategy is the same strategy I came in as, because I came in the sport to be the best bodybuilder and to inspire people and to make money. And the great thing about me is that besides, I would say I'm a good bodybuilder, I would say I'm better at motivating than bodybuilding because I talk, I'm honest, I have a voice, I have no problem speaking my voice. And so between motivational speaks like I do, I spoke at a lot of schools the past couple of years. I'm going back to University of Michigan on Friday.
That's great.
I just bought a couple $1,000s worth of podcast equipment and tables. And I think keeping yourself relevant in bodybuilding, you don't have to be on stage to be a relevant bodybuilder. I think some of the best bodybuilders retired and stayed relevant without making a big, like Branch Warren, still has gas, still has cage muscle, still is making money, still is traveling. Because I think the guys that go out on this big to-do on stage at the Olympia, this is my last show, I think that hurts nowadays than helps bodybuilders because when you throw this big farewell party for yourself, I think people kind of write you off. Whereas if you just kind of do a show and say, you know what, that's it, but I'm just going to keep doing my thing, and the fans still see you, and the fans really don't know if you're retired or not, or if you're coming back or not. So you kind of keep that little cliffhanger going with everybody. So that's what I'm not going to make. I'm just going to stay in my lane and keep doing what I've always done.
Well, I think it's a good strategy. Like I said, you're making money. People like you. You have a good social media following. You're, and I think, you apply the same work ethic to that you do to your bodybuilding, and that's why you're successful. And I always said, when I stopped competing, I took all that energy that I was putting towards bodybuilding. When I was bodybuilding, I was 100%, but I was like you, crazy focused. And I applied it to doing the other stuff I was doing with Species Nutrition and RXMuscle, and at the time it was Muscular Development. And so you can't fail when you put that level of focus and energy into what you're doing. And I think people just don't understand what it takes to do that. And we, as bodybuilders, learn that discipline, and we can apply it to other aspects of our life. It also doesn't hurt if you're anal retentive like you and I are. So, but you know what? I think a lot of the guys, you said it you made a good point. I don't even know if you realized it. Some of these guys that when they stop competing, because they were so genetically blessed to begin with, their work ethic didn't have to be quite as intense as maybe yours or mine was. And so maybe they have a tougher time after competition life making a living or finding that niche for themselves, because they have to first learn how to now apply themselves 100% as opposed to maybe 50 or 60%.
Yeah, I bought podcast equipment, Dave, 6 months ago. I said I was going to do a podcast.
Yeah.
And that was like the podcast equipment came in right around the time in Chicago.
Yeah.
And then my buddy's like, dude, and I go, I'm not starting this podcast until I fucking win a goddamn show. Like, that podcast equipment will stay in that fucking room and not used until I win a show. I was like, because my focus is not on that. My focus is on competing. Yeah. And now that I won the show, and I'm like, okay, I'm not retired. I don't suck as bad as I thought. I still have the ability to get peeled. Even though I still don't think that was my best. I think my best is yet to come. Yeah. So now that kind of one accolade is now the feather in my cap, which is like, man, Dave, like I can't tell you what it was like to like want to come back my first show after shoulder surgery and just fucking win and have like the fairy tale ending. But I think with all the disaster shows, and then like that was the last fucking show of 2019 that anybody could, like, I couldn't have asked for just a better ending.
Well, I think what you're really telling everyone is that you might have the will to come back after a major surgery like you had and win, but it doesn't. You lost the edge, so to speak, and you had to get it back. And to get it back, sometimes you got to fail and fall a lot The problem is a lot of people
failed
quit.
fucking
Well, a lot of
steps,
people
Dave,
quit
I
when they
rolled.
fall and fail like that. You used it as motivation to continue to get you hungry and hungry and make you better and better. And now you finally got back there. It's impossible to go from surgery to winning again. No one does that, you know. But you didn't want to accept that mentally because it's a very hard thing to accept that you might have to struggle for the next year before you actually get back to where you were and left off, you know.
Yeah.
So.
People, you know, it's funny. It's funny, you know, with social media, how much people see what they want to see. And you know, it's funny because I read everything. And it's funny. I know I never take anything to heart. Nothing fucking, but nothing anybody says about me ever bothers me because I don't give a fuck what anybody says. But it's funny. People see and they're like, they'll say like, you're washed up. Like you just don't have it anymore. Give up. You won 7 shows now, but none are good shows. You've never won an Olympia. And I'm like, you guys don't realize that, like, if people think that I walk around and I think I'm the best bodybuilder in the world, or I walk around and I think I'm going to win an Olympia, like, I got into bodybuilding because I wanted to be the strongest football player on the field.
Yeah.
And that's why I started working out. And my passion isn't bodybuilding. My passion is being in the gym and working out. So the end result to what I do is being on stage because it just gives the weight room something to have an end result in rather than just going to the gym monotonous and doing all this stuff constantly, not having something that I'm aiming for. So being a competitor, it gives me a little competitive edge, but my passion's in the gym. So I wanted to prove that I still had the willpower and the dedication and the strength to win a pro show, not having the greatest genetics, plus getting my shoulder surgery, plus failing 1,000 times before I fucking won. And
so don't you think you'll be one of these guys like when you're 60, you'll be like, I gotta fucking come back and win this 60 and over? No. You don't think you'll want to challenge yourself like that?
No, because I've seen it happen with a lot of these bodybuilders, especially recent with like the Kevin Lavone coming back, Flex Wheeler doing classic. This Dareem Charles came back in like I want to go out in the division that I came in. I'm not going to go out as a 212 and come back as a classic or come back and put fucking physique trunk. Like that's just, I'm a bodybuilder now. I'm a bodybuilder until I fucking die.
Right.
And I know, like, listen, I'm going to be a Barry Sanders. I'm going to go out when I'm still good. I'm not going to
Well, that's what you got it. That's the way everyone wants to do. But a lot of times you get sucked in. Like, you think about it. If you didn't win that last show, and you just said, you know what, fuck it, I'm quitting now.
I would have quit for the rest of the year. I would have came back at 20.
No, I know. But you know what I'm saying. So
yeah,
sometimes you don't know when to quit, you know, because you're so immersed in it, and you're so like blinded by what's going on. Sometimes you take a couple of fucking hits to the head, and then you're like, you know what, I'm getting out of this thing, you know.
You know what's crazy, Dave, is that growing up, you know, you hear adults when you're a kid say, what I would give to be your age again, what I would give to be in high school, what I would give to go back and, you know what I know now. And you, as a kid, you look at like your father or like adults, you're like, you're fucking nuts. I want to grow up. I want to get up. And now, like, I think one of the biggest struggles that I've ever had in my life, because, dude, I ruined a lot of shit. Like, my relationship went down the drain of the girl because I literally I didn't care about anything the past year. I didn't care about my relationship.
I was going to ask you that. You must be a very difficult person to be in a relationship with because you're very anal retentive when you start dieting for show.
Yeah.
You're anal retentive anyway, but I mean, especially for that. So did you?
Yeah, and it got to the point where, you know, it was like I needed like I was hoping it was going to be one show, but it wasn't, and it was just like one show turned into 2 shows, turned into 3, and it was just like. The more I got my ass kicked, the more focus I got on me and less focus I got at it was like, all right, Chicago didn't go well. I'm fucking going to kill everybody in Tampa. Tampa didn't go well. I'm like, now I'm going to fucking go to Romania in 12 weeks and it just, so my dedication got stronger and my focus on my other surroundings became less because in my eyes, it was like almost like a midlife crisis. Like, man, like I never thought the day would come where I'm fighting fucking time and injury and like my knee hurts and my shoulders. And it's just like things that I did when I was 25 at 37. I'm like, fuck, man, like this isn't easy no more. Like this is a struggle. You know?
So what do you do? I mean, how do you balance that? Do you have regret over losing your relationship, you know, because of the show? Is it worth it?
You know what? No. Losing a relationship or losing a good person or a good girl or a good friend or whatever is never easy. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's like sometimes, like, I'm not a selfish person. If you ask any of my friends that know me, anybody, Dave, if I told you how many people, like this past year, 3 different times, 2 different people said they were going to kill themselves that I knew. And I saved 3 people on 3 different occasions with cops involved. Like I will give my shirt off my back for anybody. And that's when I see like the negative comments that people say about me. And I'm like, these people don't know me because I would give my shirt off my back for anybody that I didn't know. The day before I left, I was driving back from the post office, dropping off a bunch of clothing orders. And there was a lady her John Deere tractor was stuck in a hole. And it was like 30 degrees. I was in sandals, shorts, and a hoodie. And I drove by her, and I went in reverse. I'm like, let me see if this lady's all right. I backed up. She said her husband had surgery. She was 70 years old. She was stuck in a ditch. I helped her out of the ditch. I picked up the John Deere trailer in my sandals, pulled her out of the fucking ditch, pushed her up the hill, and then I come home, and I got brownies on my fucking – like, I want people – I want everybody to be – I want people to realize they have potential, that the world we live in isn't a bad place, that there are still good people, that people are still good, that there isn't like all this devastate. Like there's just and a lot of people just want people like to look at bad, and I try to look at the good. But I was in a dark place, man, and I was starting to get really fucking depressed. And I think one of the things that fucked me up backstage in Cali was as soon as I didn't like what I saw in the mirror. And I start looking around at competitors. Like the one thing you should, and be like, well, that guy's legs are peeled. Well, that guy's glutes look better than mine. Well, that guy's biceps look big. Well, that guy's bigger. Well, he looks fucking better. And then I think I mentally fucked myself. Yeah. And I let my cortisol levels go through the roof because I didn't have the confidence that I had. But, you know, I don't know what happened in 6 days from Cali to Niagara Falls. But, I mean, my confidence, the one day I woke up, came back, and I woke up in the morning, and I looked in the mirror, and I was like, I'm going to fucking win the show.
Right. And you were right.
You know?
You were right. Well, you know, Guy, I think that, you know, I could speak, I've known you for many years. And you're the kind of guy that, you know, when I was in New York, if I would have picked the phone up and said, hey, I need you to come out for the day or do something for me, you get in your car and you fucking drive over there. That's why you get jobs. And that's why you make money in this industry, because you're not afraid to hustle. And I think that people should take note of that and check out, you know, what you do and people like me. And, you know, I'll never turn down a work opportunity because you never know what it could lead to. And I think people
I've never turned down an appearance, a guest posing.
Yeah, me neither.
The only time I don't do anything is 2 weeks out from a show is when I stop. Most guys do 16 weeks out, they stop traveling.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I wouldn't make the money that I made if I did that.
Of course, yeah. You got to tag the money. The only time I don't travel is when I have 6-month-olds, which is the last 3 years has been an awful lot of times.
3 times.
You can't turn down opportunities because you never know where they're going to lead to. It really is. Oh, by the way, PJ texted me. He said that he's late because he got pulled over for speeding. On his way over. I'm looking at the phone. I'm checking his text. He said he should be here any minute, but I'm delaying, but I don't think he's going to make it. We'll see. Let me ask you one more question before I let you go.
Yeah.
When you look at the landscape of bodybuilding, whether it be the open division, the classic division, 212, where do you see the sport going? Is it going up? Is it coming down? Are we in a heyday? Are we heading towards a golden age? Or are we heading in the opposite direction? And what can be done to fix it if you think either one of those exist?
Let me ask you a question. When you say where's the sport going, are you referring to bodybuilding or are you referring to the entire sport?
I'm talking about bodybuilding and classic. Don't forget the women's divisions and all that stuff. I'm talking about I'm talking about the sport of bodybuilding men.
Man, I think it's going in a direction.
Look who's here. PJ Braun just walked in. Come on into the hotel. Come on in here. I was just asking Guy where the future of the sport of bodybuilding is, and then you walked in on cue. So.
Coming off his win this weekend.
Yeah.
At least I didn't come to talk to a loser today.
Who would have thought? The last time the three of us were together was probably in my house in Seaford, Long Island.
Yeah.
That was at your 40th birthday party. That's the last time we were together. In the
My
same
40th birthday party. That's right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's when everyone was friends and loved each other. Now everyone's got their own business. PJ's owns Blackstone Labs. You're all over the world. The guy still winning shows.
Me and PJ just talked about this the other night.
Yeah.
Like I've known PJ's known me, and I've known PJ for longer than anybody in this entire sport.
Yeah.
I've known PJ since 2001.
Yeah, you guys came together, I think, to me. Or
we
one of you
trained
brought,
together every day.
You brought him, or he brought you, or something like that. And then, no one knows where Evan is. Does anyone know where the hell's Evan Centopani?
Joke. I have no idea where Evan is.
He's like in cloistered away in some
Evan's living in like the country of Connecticut.
He's in his own little world. He's still making money though, right? He
Evan,
still works for Animal.
Yeah, I think he's doing well.
Yeah, no, he's still with Animal. He's still, I mean, by what I see, he's got a nice house. He's always like gardening, cooking. Like he's got 2 kids now. He's doing good.
Yeah, everyone who came by my house back in the day, who was friends with you guys, everyone did well for themselves. It seems like. I mean,
part of that crew.
Yeah.
There's a couple guys that were in our group that.
What happened to Chris LeComte? What is he
have
doing?
kind of disappeared. Chris
is actually. I FaceTimed him the other day. He's got triplets. He lives in Florida.
No, I know he had triplets, but he's in Florida
He's
now?
like an hour north of me. He's in Jupiter.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, Jupiter's nice.
This chair. It's a fancy chair.
You like my little...
Yeah, it's awesome.
You got to get one of these. It's my gamers. I have my gamer's desk and chair I bought in Sam's Club. I mean, I saw it. I'm like, I got to get it. This is going to be like... I was going to get one of those Rich Piana King's thrones.
It looks like... I thought it was a gamer's chair when I first saw it.
Yeah, but I felt like this was a little more high-tech. So I had to get this. I have the racing car chair in my house, but I thought this was like a little more... I was trying to look for something to dress up the studio with, but
you know what's funny? We have 3 guys in like on this little interview, and 6 shoulders, and not one shoulder of any of us is good.
Oh, you have bad shoulders too?
I need replacement on both sides.
Oh, you do? Oh, you got to go to my guy.
Frankel, right?
Frankel, yeah.
That's who everyone said I should go to.
You know who just went to him? Also, Lee Apperson, who's 60.
Really?
Yeah.
He's like, I want to train. I want to bench press 405. I'm like, Lee. He's like, can I do? I said, so I sent it to Frankel. Frankel was so petrified of him. He was like, well, I don't want to promise you anything because most of the time, he's always like, let's do it. He's a bodybuilder himself, but Lee is like intense. He wants to go back to training full. I said, Lee, you're in agony. I mean, get him done. It's what it is. The whole idea of doing the whole shoulder is so traumatizing. The idea of it is way worse than the surgery.
That's what I think is
The surgery does not. There's no pain afterwards. They got you on they put a nerve block for a day. The next day you're on some pain meds. To be honest with you, the second shoulder I took pain meds one day.
Wow.
I was in less pain after the surgery than I was before the surgery.
Damn.
Really?
So yeah, it's not a bad. It's like a hip replacement.
Dude, I had this first shoulder surgery when I got it, this right side. I remember sitting on my step. I was debating fucking like jumping off my roof.
Because you had rotator cuff repair. This is not a rotator cuff. They're taking a joint that's completely degenerative, inflamed, painful, and they're removing it and putting something that doesn't hurt. So of course you're going to be in less pain. The only pain you feel is the incision pain.
My whole thing is I don't even care about the pain anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like so past that. But the look of my shoulders now versus when I was younger, they've deteriorated so much.
You had big shoulders too.
And that's what kills me the most. But I've done stem cells. Like
I tried it all too.
Wasted money on
I
all these
did all
things.
that.
I haven't done anything.
No, you gotta get. Can you externally rotate your shoulder like that?
I can't.
No, you'll be able to do it again. I'm telling you, and you still have muscle. You'll be a good
I've
candidate.
completely atrophied everything back here where they think it's all neurological, but both sides are bad. My right side, my humerus is all chipped away, like the inside of the joint.
You got to get it. Just get it replaced. You'll
PJ's
be.
had bad shoulders since I've known him. That's how long he's been dealing with this.
Yeah, but you're young still. How old are you?
38.
Yeah, you guys. You see, that's a little young. I needed him when I was 38, but we're actually early at 35. But I refused because the shoulder replacements then sucked.
Yeah.
Now they're really good. So I mean,
if you wanted to now, could you train heavy? Like,
yes.
You'd
yeah.
Good?
Yeah, but I'm afraid I don't want to wear my joints
no,
out.
Me
so,
neither. I can't do anything even close to like what I do.
But I go to the gym. I haven't bench pressed or dumbbell pressed in like 15 years because of the pain. I would do machines, and I get under there, and I'm like no pain pressing them up. I'm like, I can go a lot heavier than this,
Wow.
you know,
That's cool.
and I just don't do it because I don't want
think also psychologically, the idea of being out of the gym for however long it's going to be drives me out of my mind.
But you know what? You're not probably doing anything productive in the gym right now anyway. You're working around an injury. You know what I mean? Once you fix it, at least it's fixed.
I've been working around it for years now, too.
Yeah. What did we lose, Guy? Did he probably, his phone probably died or something like that. I've been talking to him so I kept delaying him.
No, I appreciate it. I was hoping that I'd be able to come in and crash it.
Well, you know what? Let's I'll just wrap this up. PJ and I got to do a separate interview. We're gonna go look at some snakes first. And Guy, thank you so much for calling in. Congratulations on the big win. Guys, this is going to take us to the end of another episode of Live With, brought to you by Species Nutrition. I'm Dave Palumbo, here with PJ Braun and Guy Cisternino somewhere in New Jersey. We'll see you next time.